It's been a weird week for the paranormal. Slow, but weird. Especially when it comes to the, Warren's house that in sale and stuff like this, and the Conjuring house for sale, and our good friend Zachary Bagans. Obviously, Zach Bagans has just dropped his newest season of House Calls, Ghost Adventures House Calls. And I've found, along with a lot of help, some very suspicious things with regards to the new season. Zach Bagans. What on earth was this? You guys may know that the new season of Ghost Adventures House Calls has just dropped on the Travel Channel, right? Season 3, everyone was somewhat hyped about it. There was possessions. Zach even got involved with one of the pilot episodes. It was all this big thing. But now, people are starting to kind of open their eyes and realise that there's a lot more fishy business going on with regards to this season than ever before. Now, I've got to say, when did Ghost Adventures just become a way for people to just advertise their businesses? We saw it with the Poltergeist house. Yes, it was a very interesting concept. Yes, it was the first time that anyone had ever been to investigate the Poltergeist house. But it was taken over by a new woman who wanted to turn it into an Airbnb. You can see the motives behind wanting to go on Ghost Adventures, arguably one of the biggest TV shows for paranormal investigating at this current time. There's huge potential and appeal for a large audience to see your property, get involved, and basically you can convert it into the brand new Conjuring house, right? But it's starting to be called out, and there's a lot of digging that's gone into this, right? Where people just aren't vetting, clearly, the people that they get into Ghost Adventures House Calls. Now, the premise of House Calls is that people are plagued by demonic entities or what have you, right? And their paranormal encounters get way too much for them to handle, so they call in the Ghost Adventures crew to come and help cleanse the house. That's the premise of Ghost Adventures House Calls. That's why it's got a spotlight. And it's supposed to be for people that need help. But since when did well-experienced paranormal investigators who have had their own Travel Channel TV shows need exposure and need support with demons and paranormal activity? It screams to me that there's something a little bit fishy going on here. So, let me give you a little bit of context to what I'm talking about. In the new season of Ghost Adventures House Calls, in Season 3, Episode 3, which has literally just aired, it aired on September 3rd, 2025, Zach's team braces for a chaotic spiritual storm when they are called into Ohio to help a couple reclaim their dream home from an aggressive ghosts. Could the discovery of children's letters and a capture of a childlike form reveal the culprit? Now, obviously, the writers, Zach Bagans is in there, stars Zach Bagans, Aaron Goodwin, Jay Wesley. I mean, it's quite bold to say it stars Zach Bagans. He literally sits at a screen and does literally this the entire show. But I guess, he does star in it. But this episode in particular, right, stars someone else. As Carlo Zuzic, who is himself and the homeowner, is also involved within this episode. Now, you may recognise the name Carlo Zuzic. Well, that's because Carlo Zuzic, over on his own stuff, is best known for Ghost Adventures House Call, Haunted History, which started to air in September of 2013, The Haunted Case Files, as well as many, many other paranormal shows across the years, spanning from 2010 all the way up till now, 2025. This guy is believed to be, a well-seasoned paranormal investigator. Tell me why he's got the Ghost Adventures crew to go in and, help with his house when... I don't know, man. It's just so weird. And people are starting to call this out online because they're like, hang on, I've seen this guy before. Why is he on Ghost Adventures? So, someone on the Ghost Adventures fans club stated, wait, the new House Calls episode is Carlo Zuzic. He's a damn paranormal investigator himself, and I've seen another show on YouTube on which he mentioned that he purposely bought the Fremont house because it was haunted. This is a bit of a letdown. What is the point of this? Like, what? This is just literally, right? This is embarrassing for Zach and his show. Because clearly, either there's no vetting going on, or there is vetting going on, and it's like, oh, let's just get in someone that's clearly, you know, got some kind of haunted house and got a bit of a name, so, you know, boost up ratings. Or it's just a promotional thing, and, you know, Ghost Adventures Now is just a promotional thing, instead of it just being, I loosely use the term serious. Now, someone's even called this out and stated, Zach talks about credibility, what a joke. Obviously, he isn't getting any requests for house calls if he has to use other channel albums for a show. Like, even on Reddit, this is crazy. So, on the Ghost Adventures reel, obviously, Carlo is used for promotional material, right? And it's titled, House Calls, Who is this guy? I have definitely seen this man on TV before. I did a Google picture search and nothing came up, but I swear I've seen him before. Anyone else? And someone else replied, his name is Carlo. I know him personally. He's the head of the named ORBS out of Ohio. Carlo Zuzic, obviously that is his name. Pretty sure that's Carlo Zuzic, and he's been in a bunch of shows. Interesting, did they acknowledge during tonight's episode that this guy was involved in the paranormal, or did they just present him as a regular property owner? I didn't catch all of the episodes, right? So they didn't at all. They presented them as a couple that wouldn't move into the house that they bought 3 years ago. The homeowner guy would often reference people seeing things, like a bunch of people that he'd been through the home, all the rest of it, right? So basically, this guy's a paranormal investigator in reality and has been profiting off this house since they bought it, having various groups and individuals investigating it. A show found him and called the Haunted Case Files. You can find her Facebook page, all the rest of it, right? So basically, what's happened here is they bought this house, publicly made it common knowledge that they bought this house because it was haunted, right? As mentioned by fans here. And he's mentioned that on YouTube series, where, like, you know, he posts content and stuff, have let it out to paranormal investigators to go and investigate the house, made a profit off this property, and then have gone to Ghost Adventures and been like, do you know what? You could help here. We could get some bookings off the back of you. Similarly to that of the Poltergeist house, back for the start of Ghost Adventures, the pilot episode, ironically, of the latest season. What an embarrassment. Genuinely, what an embarrassment. It's either people just don't want Zach and his crew to go in anymore, and House Calls is kind of like under the cosh a little bit, or this person's directly gone to Ghost Adventures and has been like, oh, do you want to come and do this for me, and I'll give you the property, and, you know, we can do a little bit of hoo-ha and all the rest of it. Like, what an absolute mess. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for people, like, you know, making a profit on their properties if they buy it. Elton and Matt have just bought the Conjuring house. Or, not the Conjuring house, the Warrens Museum. All the best to them. I hope that they make a profit on it. I hope that they can do really well with it. I hope it's amazing. I hope whoever gets the Conjuring house next can do the same. But this is just... The fact that they didn't even acknowledge that this guy is involved in the paranormal and has had TV shows on the same channel that this is airing on is an actual embarrassment. Like, to the nth degree. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment just listening about this. What an absolute shambles. Guys, let me know what you guys think on this down in the comments below. Should they have just been transparent with this and been like, oh, you know, this guy bought this haunted property, but now it's too much for him to handle? That would have been a cool narrative. Just run with that narrative instead of, like, pleading ignorance, you know, pretending that people are stupid and wouldn't recognise that you've got someone who's already been on the same fucking channel and using his property. Oh, my goodness. I can't even with this show anymore. It's, every time, it's just funnier and funnier. On top of that, now, a lot of people in the comments section told me that this is quite common practice, but for me especially, knowing what I do about the house, possibly the Conjuring house that was ran and owned by Jacqueline Nunes, not necessarily being potentially up to working standard, let's say. You know, obviously we know that it's going on sale on October 31st, Halloween of this year, but no one's allowed in to see the property, which for me raises a lot of red flags. The sale of the Conjuring house might be about to become the biggest thing to happen in October of 2025. Forget Sam and Colby's Hell Week. Forget every single paranormal video that every single YouTuber and their dog and their mother is going to put out. The sale of the Conjuring house is going to be the biggest thing because it's been an 18-month saga by that point of allegations, accusations, wrongful theft allegations, DUIs and arrest warrants, and it's a massive thing. Now, obviously, I've already covered that the sale is going to be taking place on October, but I've just literally this morning stumbled across an interview that came out 8 days ago with the neighbour of the Conjuring house and talking about it going up for auction. And the interview with Sarah Ganelli went into a little bit more detail with regards to the actual sale itself and how the auction's going to take place. And I've noticed some insanely huge red flags, which would absolutely should put anyone off from wanting to purchase this property. Take a little listen to the interview first. We're going to go through it, and then we'll dive into what my red flags are.
House controversy. Target 12 first broke that the home is going up for auction on Halloween after the home's owner stopped paying the mortgage, forcing a bank to foreclose on the property.
Target 12 investigator Sarah Granelli has reaction from a neighbor, plus details about how the auction will happen. Sarah?
We're outside of the Conjuring house in Burrillville, and despite the business being closed since last year, a neighbor tells me people still stop by to check out the historic home, especially since the new movie was just released. As for the property going up for auction, he says he just hopes the new homeowners respect the neighborhood. Another twist in the real-life saga of the Conjuring house in Burrillville, the home made famous by the 2013 blockbuster hit The Conjuring. The property was foreclosed on and is going up for auction on Halloween.
We have real concerns about what's going to happen with the property, who buys it, and what their intentions are with it.
The farmhouse was made famous by the 2013 blockbuster The Conjuring. Owner Jacqueline Nunez opened it to paranormal enthusiasts until the town council pulled her entertainment license last year, citing safety issues. Don Sullivan and his family live across the street.
From my understanding, the house is in pretty poor condition. The foundation, the roof, lack of any fire suppression units.
Justin Manning from J.J. Manning Auctioneers will be heading up the auction at the property next month. He's expecting a big turnout.
It should be really interesting because this is not just a local sell or a regional sell. It's not even national. It's truly international. I expect that there's probably a police detail. I expect people will be in costumes.
Manning says the auction will be held outside and bidders won't be able to enter the house. They must arrive with $25,000 in a check in their name. The winner will then need to pay in full within 30 days. Nunez bought the property for $1.5 million in 2022. Manning says it's unclear what it will go for now.
Usually I can get someone to, hey, will you open it up for me at $500,000 or $700,000, whatever it may be.
The auction announcement comes as the Conjuring franchise released its latest movie last week, which had fans of the film like Sean Matthews from New Jersey stopping by the house.
I'm a big fan of horror, and obviously I've seen all the Conjuring movies. I wish I had enough money to purchase it. It's very exciting.
Meanwhile, Sullivan says he hopes whoever buys the property next will keep the neighborhood in mind.
As neighbors, we would hope that the new owners respect our rights, our desire for some peace and quiet, work with us.
I've reached out to Nunez multiple times for a comment, but haven't heard back. In Burrillville, Sarah Granelli, 12 News.
It doesn't come as a surprise that Jacqueline isn't responding whatsoever, but at this current point, the front runners for the purchase of the Conjuring house, as you can imagine, sits with Matt Rife and Elton Castee, especially after they have just purchased the Warren Occult Museum. It seems almost as if it's an opportunity for them to almost monopolise the paranormal properties across the globe. Arguably, purchasing two of the biggest properties in the paranormal would definitely put them in good standing to move forwards. Now, a lot of people would just listen to that and be like, yeah, you know, it's nothing really too new with what we already know. But there was a significant point there where I was like I was just kind of listening to it in the background this morning, and then I was like, and then I kind of thought back to conversations that I've already had with people that have been in the property and are aware of the current state of the property and stuff. So, you know, the part where I think it was around here, have a little listen to this part quickly again.
Will then need to pay in full.
I expect people will be in costumes.
Manning says the auction will be held outside and bidders won't be able to enter the house. They must arrive with $25,000 in a check in their name. The winner will then need to pay in full within 30 days.
The bidders are not actually allowed inside the property. They have to stand outside. The winners have to provide a check of $25,000 up front and then pay in full within 30 days. Right, I'm not worried about the latter parts and the financial side of it. Like, you know, that's for whoever purchases it to sort out. But they're not allowed inside the property. That tells me that this property, you know, just, you know, from the outside looking in, is not in good shape. If I was about to drop, you know, upwards, probably north of $1 million worth of investment, I can imagine that's probably what the Conjuring house would go for, considering it was purchased for 1.5 million. Arguably in a far better condition, might I add. But, you know, let's play devil's advocate and say, you know, they used to benchmark between 500 and $1 million, all right? That's a big wad of cash. If I'm investing that much money into a property, I want to know what I'm walking into and what I'm buying. To me, the fact that they won't let people inside the property, maybe because it's an absolute horror show in there, maybe because the weather and how it hasn't been looked after over the winter and then the summer and coming back into the winter has probably caused a lot of damage, a lot of issues, tells me that there's something fishy going on here. And the bank just want to get rid of it, and they just want it off their hands. Now, I'm going to read out a message from someone that I, you know, have had some information from. I'm not going to name names because that's not fair to do. But they have told me, right, that they can imagine, knowing the issues that the systems have in the Conjuring house already, they have told me, right, that basically they are very well aware that there most likely would have been some kind of leak in the basement. It most likely would have sat there for the winter, which would have cooled the pipes and then frozen them. Over the summer, it probably would have expanded the pipes and burst them. There's probably going to be some kind of black mold issue going on in the basement especially. They were there, right, bracing the floor to make sure that it wouldn't collapse for customers coming in and, you know, people that were purchasing tickets to go into there. They're very well aware that the property's going to need probably more to fix it than it is to actually buy it. And I got a feeling that that's why they won't let any potential buyers go inside the property prior to the bidding, like winning the bid. I'm not being funny, but that to me is a huge red flag, because like I say, if I was spending between $500,000 and $1 million, you know, that's a big ballpark figure, I would want to know exactly what I'm walking into, what I'm buying, and what kind of money I'm going to need and budget for renovations. Because you're not going to want to just purchase this property and just sit on it. You're going to want to commercialise it. And to commercialise it, you need to make it safe. You need to bring it up to standard. How much money is that going to cost? Well, that's anyone's guess. I just find it so funny and so suspicious that they won't let people in. And to me, that's a huge telltale sign that this is the property's absolutely cooked. What do you guys think? Obviously, this is speculation on my part, but I'm going to put myself out there and say that this is a bit of an educated guess. And as well, because it's been a slow week, I thought I can't just let the channel wither and die. I need to put something out. So I was sifting through some TikToks, just kind of thinking to myself, oh, this is how I would recreate that. This is how I'd recreate that. This is how I would make this happen. Well, I thought, why not record it? Someone might find it interesting. Now, this is some of the garbage that you will typically find on the paranormal side of TikTok. Alright? A lot of people are going to hear that and be like, I'm just going to switch this video off now because, you know. Well, it's been a while since I've taken a little look at some paranormal footage, alright? And have given my opinions on stuff. Now, you're probably wondering, why do you care about my opinion? Well, because I used to make paranormal footage like this. I feel like I've got a bit of insight into making this stuff that a lot of people might not necessarily have. Now, with regards to the video that we've just seen, obviously, there's nothing to prove to me that this is paranormal, right? A woman stands up from a rocking chair with a teddy bear in her hand, stares at a camera for about a minute, which, by the way, for my ADHD brain, would literally be nigh on impossible, and has just posted it with the caption, "This is the scariest shit I've ever seen." She doesn't remember a thing. Am I buying that? No. Are you buying that? Probably not, but that's the kind of like depths that we're going to here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go on to another video. This happened in broad daylight. Watch. Okay. Now, this clip's a little bit more interesting because obviously there's a little bit more going on. So, my initial thought was, perhaps there's just someone kind of sat underneath this table. But when you watch the chair getting pushed out, it doesn't seem as if there's anyone kind of under there. Now, there's a good possibility that the chair getting pulled out could possibly be down to a piece of... Right, so there. Now, behind here, behind the pause arrow, it's just annoying that it's placed there. I couldn't see anybody kind of pushing it. Doesn't mean there wasn't, but a more logical explanation could possibly be, right, just a piece of fishing wire that goes around both legs so that the chair pulls back exactly, you know, as it is. And it could just be, we can see a little cabinet here. Now, if it were me, the easiest way to do this would have been to get a piece of fishing wire, wrap it around both legs at the back, all right, and then have it coming from the center, and then, you know, put it around one of the handles, maybe on this cabinet, maybe even the leg of the cabinet, because that's a bit more sturdy. You could even have someone around here, under this door, right, even just off camera down here, just give it a little tug, and then because of the tension getting pulled towards this, even if you pulled it in this direction, that direction, or that direction, right, you're going to have the same effect, which is this chair getting pulled backwards. Now, obviously that's enough for then this woman to go, freak out the door, see you later, skedaddle, stand outside for about 2 minutes while something else happens. Now, a lot of people are saying that, you know, under the table, that's why the black bag is there to hide them. There's a good possibility of that, but you would have probably seen a hand somewhere. I mean, obviously, this is a bit more of a extravagant kind of possibility. You might have even seen a bit of a lens flare, but if it's thin enough, like the wire's thin enough, you're not going to see lens flare at all. Let's get the video to progress a little bit. So she freaks out. Ah, scary. What the fuck? Classic line, by the way. What the fuck? Out the door. Off you go. And the bag moves. Now, the bag is, again, using the same kind of... Oh, I've lost it. Using the same kind of, like, methodology here. Alright, you've got the bag coming off... Where is it? Right here. Again, same methodology. Around the door handle, maybe even around something around here. Just a little bit of fishing wire. You could see the tension as it came back as well. A little bit. Have a watch at this. You can see it on the handle, and then it spins around. That's probably because there's something weighty inside the bag that carried the momentum, which then pushed the bag off the table. obviously I'm being very cynical here, but this is just, if I was to recreate this, this is how I would have created something like this back in the day. It's just a lot easier to kind of explain it in that sense. Obviously, I can't categorically say that this is fake without actually seeing the fishing line. This could be legit. It could well be. Do I think it is? No. Do I think do I believe in ghosts? Also, no. I would love to be proven wrong, but at the same time, I've just never seen any categorical evidence of it. Anyway, let's move on to this video.
Go lie down. It's okay. Lie down. Stay. Been doing this all morning and I don't have time for this today. Stop. Hey buddy. I got too much going on. You gotta cut it out. Oh shit. Okay. Just gonna set it up with the towels and we'll just let the phone roll. I asked you if you gotta go or you gotta go downstairs or something. Wherever you're gonna go, you gotta go. Calm down. He's okay. Please, not today. Just, holy cow. Oh my God. Little buddy.
Alright, so this one again, I think, is this Win McPix or something? I think that's the actual TikTok page that has uploaded this. There's a lot that goes on. Obviously, the door opens, you can see the shadow figure on the stairs, and it's creepy, it's weird, it's wild, it's, you know, scary, supposedly. Camera, focus on me. Anyway, so if we take a little look down here, alright, we've got, obviously...
Lie down. It's okay.
Something weird
Lie
happens,
down.
the dog. We
Stay.
never actually see the dog.
Been doing this all morning and I don't have time for this today. Stop.
He shuts the door.
Hey buddy. I got too much going on. You gotta cut it
As
out.
for the flashing lights, an easy explanation for this would be there's another light switch down the bottom of the stairs, which is quite common for, I don't know about basements in America because obviously I'm not in America, but when I think about like stairwells in the UK, right, an easy explanation for this would be like you have a light at the top of the steps and you have a light at the bottom of the stairs, so no matter where you are on the stairs you can turn the light on or off. It could possibly be the same gig there, just someone down in the basement flicking the lights on and off. Possibly. With regards to the door opening and closing, obviously you hear the door shut, but I wouldn't be surprised if the latch just wasn't fully on the latch. Either that or it's one of those roller doors. Like, you know where you have like the latch that goes into the little clicker bit. But instead of it being like one of the triangular ones that like pops and then holds in place, you've got one of the, like the ball roller. So then like you can open it and close it without having to twist the door handle. And then all you have to do then is just get a piece of fishing wire. Again, just give it a nice little tug. The door will open. Again, with it closing, if someone's already downstairs in the basement flickering the lights on and off, all it is just a piece of string there. Now, with regards to the shadowy figure, now we know for a fact, you kind of see it there, we know for a fact that this probably is not a person. I would feel quite confident in saying that that's just not a person. I wouldn't be surprised if this was some kind of digital after effect, possibly. It wouldn't be the easiest thing to overlay into a video, especially when you have to try and match it with the contrast of the door, like the stairwell, and also the lighting coming in. So that's, that is quite a feat of art, if I'm perfectly honest. If that is digitally implemented, which I suggest, or I theorize it could possibly be. If it's a person stood there, obviously they're just in very dark clothing, maybe even like a blacked out morph suit of some kind, and is just subtly stood towards the back to keep the shadow on them. Otherwise, if they kind of go to the other side, the lighting from the room wouldn't be blocked off by the door so much, which would mean that like all of this lighting here would probably, right, give away a bit more of a solid edge and a bit of more of a harsher silhouette instead of this subtlety. I don't necessarily know how that's done, so I'm not even going to theorize on that. I've never played around with anything like this before, so I can't comment on that, but if you've got an idea, let me know down in the comments. We're going to take a look at one more video because obviously these are breaking it down like this is quite time consuming, so I don't want to long it out necessarily. But let's take a look at one more video, which I have right here.
Doors. You need to get out, dude. Will you knock it off, please? You got to get out. You're gonna lock yourself in the laundry room again? You're not leaving? You're not gonna only up in my office. Something keeps passing by this window. I've just propped up the phone here and I'm gonna play.
It's Win McPix again.
If you're walking by my office, I want you to knock it off. Holy. Is that you making all that noise back there? This thing's always closing doors. You need to get out. Dude. Will you knock it off, please? You got to get out. You're gonna lock yourself in the laundry room again? You're not leaving? You're not gonna...
Alright, so let's kind of go through it. Now obviously the start of the video, it was kind of like a prelude to the main event, let's call it. So this is kind of actually where the video starts. So he's doing some gaming, looks like GTA 5, right? He's got his energy drinks, he's locked in for the sesh. Now, he's obviously talking about
something keeps passing by.
Something goes past the frosted glass. Let's take a little look.
I've just propped up the phone here and I'm gonna play.
Now, what's interesting about this, obviously, is it goes up to the frosted glass, but never appears over his shoulder. The easy way of describing this, or managing this, right, is the fact that you can see he never overlaps the frosted glass. Now, if I was to make this, what I would have done is I would have got a... what's it called? Mask. It's called masking. So what you do is you essentially cut out this part of the frosted glass, probably up to his arm, put his arm up there, and then up there, right? You don't have to cut around the face or anything. And then this footage that he's got here would have been one piece of footage. And then the frosted glass would have been a second piece of footage, right? Which would have been the cutout event. Now, all you do is you take your base footage, which would have been him playing the video game. You put in, like, imagine like this entire window is just a second piece of footage. You just overlap it, right? And then you play the footage of something walking past, which is only ever going to appear on that footage. So it's not obviously going to appear in this base footage, let's call it. And it's only going to pass the frosted glass. And then, because it's a pre-recorded video of a separate event, and then he's like, oh my God. And it's really easy footage, especially considering the camera is stationary. At least that's how I would have done it. Then, moving forwards, obviously, he gets up and he's like, oh my God, this is so weird. He goes over to the door. He notices that the door closes. Oh, that flies off first. If I was to do that, it would have been a piece of string. Again, it flies off in this direction. You could easily have someone hidden down behind here. Again, a piece of wire can either go around the banister here, or potentially around the leg of one of the sofas here, and it would have just flung off in that direction, which would have given the misdirection and illusion in that someone, to be fair, there could even be someone right here, right, or on the stairs, who just yanked it downwards, if that makes sense, would have thrown it towards the stairs. Obviously, we don't see up the stairs, so we know for a fact that, there could possibly be someone up there. Then,
is that you making all that noise back there?
What happens next? Door closes, nice and easy. There could just be somebody inside there. Again, these are all hypotheticals, possibilities. I can't categorically say for certain.
This thing's always closing doors. You need to get out. Dude. Will you knock it off, please?
Nice and easy. Someone's in there, possibly. Now, this again would... This is why I think this could possibly be some kind of CGI, because we've seen this in the other clip where you saw it on the stairs. I've just got a feeling this guy's really good with CGI and just knows how to make this kind of stuff tick.
You got to get out. You're gonna lock yourself in the laundry room again? You're not leaving? You're not gonna...
And then the chair, nice and easy again. You know, he could even have the thread where there is a hard cut. But if you'll notice it here...
Yourself in the laundry room again? You're not leaving?
Walking. Oh,
doors. You need to get out. You're gonna lock yourself in the laundry room again? You're not leaving? You're not gonna...
Did you see the hard cut? There's a good possibility he could have just held onto a piece of thread himself. He could have it to his friend who's potentially thrown the other thing, possibly. There's a lot of possibilities, like, you know, a lot of hypotheticals, a lot of what ifs. I can't prove any of it. I can't disprove any of it. I can't say for certain that that's paranormal. I can't say for certain that it is paranormal or it's not paranormal. But if I was to recreate this footage, that would be how I would have done it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Way down there, jump scare the hell out of that like button and subscribe. I'm truly, like, I like watching this stuff because it, like, I feel like it helps me keep my brain ticking over to be like, oh, that's how I could have done it. Or, so if you, I just do that because I just fancy doing it. So if you ever like watching this stuff and you want to see more of it, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you guys make of all this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Way down there, jump scare the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.